Can I tell you one of the hardest things I think for being a pastor? Maybe not the hardest, but one of those things that's so difficult to deal with, and it's in the moment of funerals. I've done several this year, and throughout my pastoral career, I've done dozens of funerals, and they're almost all the same. And it's the individuals I talk to afterwards, or before, as we're getting ready, talking with the family on how they want the service to go and how it wants to work. It's this massive regret of not coming together sooner. In fact, the last funeral, I even remember this lady talking to one of the, well, who are you? And oh, I'm the grandson, and she goes, oh, I haven't seen you since you were this big, and he was an adult, right? And she's talking about he was a toddler the last time. Oh, I just, tell me about your life. They started to get together, and I thought, what a horrible thing this is, and it happens all the time. That there's this massive regret because we've allowed life to get so busy that it's only the disasters that bring us together. I think as a nation, we're a great example of this. The 9/11 was an incredible example of when the nation came together. We were unified. We were at one voice, right? And now our nation doesn't happen very often anymore, right? COVID is driving us apart. Everything's driving us apart at this point. But I'm not here to talk about politics. I'm here to talk about God. Because what we see in our reading today, Judges chapter 20, we see the exact same thing happen. The nation of Israel, through the book of Judges, has grown apart. We see segments, these tribes are doing their own thing. They're all about themselves. But then finally, this story happens in chapter 19 of Judges, and this Levite cuts his concubine, his wife, up, and sends pieces of her throughout the nation of Israel. And this disaster brings them together, and they battle as one force. Now they battle as one force against one of the tribes, the tribe of Benjamin, which is a whole nother story. But it was in this disaster that they came together. And it made me think about the church world today, and this drive to take away the church as an important entity within the belief system of a Christian. That the church has not become important until there's a disaster. That as long as my life is going okay, I'm going to live my life, and I don't need the church. But man, the minute a disaster happens, guess what? You come back to church. I know you do, because I have it and have seen it over and over again. And I'm not just talking about funerals. I'm talking about health scares. Oh man, I could tell you stories about people that have not been in church for years. They have a cancer diagnosis. Something happens. Who do they reach out to? The church. Why? Because the church for 6,000 years, and I'm talking about all the way back to our Jewish brothers and sisters, the church has been the central focus, right? It's the place to come together, to unify, to be edified, to be trained, to go out and to minister, to ensure that our doctrine is solid, to ensure that we are unified together. But for 6,000 years, it's been this way. But no, now we say, well, you go live your life. And when you really need something, when times hit hard, then get back into church. Can I tell you, that's not how God designed it from the very beginning. That's not how Jesus Christ talked about it. That's not how the early church talked about it. That's not even how the 18th century, the 19th century church. It wasn't until the 20th century and now the 21st century that we begin to migrate away from the church. And we're just waiting for the next disaster. We're waiting for the next disaster to come together as one body again. Why are we waiting for the next disaster? What would happen if the church of God, right? I'm not talking about a denomination, but I'm talking about Christian churches What would happen if everybody that called themselves a Christian said that this is my home church? What would happen if they showed up on a Sunday, begin to integrate within the body of the church, right? Begin to function. What would happen? Well, I can answer that. We would have revival. Guaranteed, flat out. That's exactly what happened. We'd see miracles again. We'd see signs and wonders. We would see people being saved left and right. We'd see our home change, our homes begin to change, our business begin to change, our workplaces, our schools. We begin to see our nation, the United States of America, turn back to God. How do I know this? Because the Bible tells me so. That's what happens when the people turns their hearts back to God, begins to obey him fully, not partially, but fully. Don't wait. Don't wait for the next disaster to get back at church. And let me just tell you this. Don't wait for the next funeral to see your loved ones, to see your family. Take time. Take time. Don't allow the disasters of our lives to be the thing that draws us back to God, that draws us back to our family. Don't allow disasters to be what drives you. Allow the word of God to be what drives you.